Can I ask you, Titus O'Reilly, are we coming off the bye? Are we coming off a bye? I don't think we are. We're backing it up 2 weeks in a row against the thoughts of quite a number of people on Twitter this week who thought that 2 in a row is going to be too much for us.
Well, I also
what's
think
going on.
A lot of people also started a GoFundMe page for us to not come back.
Do people want refunds for everything that you've ever written?
Well, we should start off by...
what are we doing here? This is the Variety podcast. It is. Yeah.
You went off track on the intro.
I went off track. Yeah, I completely. Everything's thrown me.
I'm glad to say our normal level of professionalism resumed.
It's just cut through.
We are going to talk about all the fun of the fair of GoFundMe pages and stuff because it's been fun. But I thought we'd start off with some actual good, pleasant news.
There actually is some good Australian sporting news.
Well,
this
there has been. I mean, it has amazing.
And not surprisingly, it's all chicks. The only thing that any blokes will discuss this week are idiots.
Although there's this thing of saying, aren't the women great and the men horrible? Yeah. I think if we give the women time.
Oh, yeah. We've been encouraging women to become more horrible.
Yeah.
But this week in particular, it's all good news.
It was all good news. Well, we had a huge day yesterday in Australian sport. Ash Barty became world number 1 in tennis.
Yes.
Which is
unheard of.
Quite amazing, given, if you look back 3 years ago or something, there's no way you'd have predicted this.
Oh, exactly. It was probably, 2 years ago or ever since Alicia Molik retired, really. It was like, well, gee, the cupboard's bare now.
She wasn't even ranked. I think there was a period.
She made the top 10.
Yeah,
but
then she was unranked for a while.
Yeah, and then but the cupboard appeared to be bare.
Well, it looked like her chances of being number 1 a few years ago, you would have said, were the chances of us recording every single week.
That's still outside at best. They're not exactly Winx-like odds, are they?
Yeah. So that was a great moment for her, and the thing is, everyone seems to like her. So
yeah, I've never met her, but she just seems to. She just, in an old-fashioned kind of way, she just seems to go about her business,
do her job.
Does her job. She plays tennis and does it better than just about any other woman in the world at the moment.
Well, I think the fact that she wants to play tennis is a big factor in her success.
Kicking and screaming onto centre court like her idiot mates.
Yeah, that's right. She sort of actually seems to be quite keen to not only be there but do well.
There's worse jobs.
That's the thing.
Have you ever dug ditches? Have you ever hauled cotton?
That's the thing. If you've worked in an office or you've worked in, any
physical labour.
My first job was cleaning a meat room.
A meat room?
Seriously. So I look at people complaining about...
What is a meat room?
Oh, it's after the butchers do their stuff.
Right.
Where they do then I'd have to come clean it.
That
was my very first job.
Hose.
That and, various other tools and utensils.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you ever want a body disposed of...
Okay, Mr. Wolf.
So, when I see people complaining about... about...
Harvey Keitel's just joined the Variety Hour.
We had a couple other big wins. Hannah Green, who a lot of people probably wouldn't have heard of until yesterday.
I didn't know much about her, I've got to say.
Australian. She won the US PGA Championship, one of 5 majors. So... that sort of slipped under the radar because I think you and I. Do you play golf at all?
I do play golf.
Yeah, so you should have known about this.
Well, I got to say, again, women's golf is what we were just saying that women's tennis seemed to be in a bit of a hole. Nobody really coming through since Kari Webb. Australia has got some good women golfers, but no one's really taken the world by storm.
Yeah.
But now here comes Hannah Green, who not many people knew about. She's won a major. Good luck to her.
That's a huge achievement.
And you know what she did immediately afterwards? She sculled a beer.
Yeah.
So everyone thought, how good is this? We've got Ash Barty here. Yeah. We've got Hannah Green sculling beers. They're top.
Because Kari Webb was seriously one of the all-time greats.
Oh, she's in the Golf Hall of Fame. Not just women's golf.
No,
just
it's
golf
amazing.
Hall of Fame.
Because I remember when I was researching my first book, reading up about her, and I'd watched her play quite a bit. I got quite into watching her play when she was around, but I hadn't fully comprehended sometimes you go back and look at an athlete and you sort of go, oh, I hadn't realised
she was dominant there for a while. She, when Tiger Woods was winning every second tournament, she was much the same amongst the women.
And a young age.
Yeah.
Really amazing. And then we had Sally Fitzgibbons, which was less of a surprise. She's more well-known, but has been a star in surfing. Got to the top as world number one after winning in Brazil yesterday too.
The Rio Pro. And just on the surfing, just 2 weeks ago, Stephanie Gilmore, who has been the world champion 7 times, which
only 7
in itself is not a bad record to have. She just won another tournament just 2 weeks ago, so she's back in the top 3 in the world.
It is amazing. Green is number 114 in the world, and so she'd never won a main tour win to her name. So
she'll jump up from there, you would imagine, after winning this.
Barty was unranked. I was just looking back at my notes. 4 years ago, she was completely unranked.
Yeah.
So, Twin Data wrote in, would Nick Kyrgios benefit from playing a season of BBL cricket in his quest for world tennis domination? Because Barty played in the WBBL.
Yeah. Could you imagine Nick Kyrgios in a team environment? He's bad enough in an individual sport. You imagine the catman. Hey, Nick, about 10 metres close to the fence, mate. A bit this way. No, it just wouldn't work.
It's your turn to bowl. No, not fielding. I'm sick.
I'm not fielding it. Fine leg.
It is amazing. So huge thing. Now we should say, the women haven't done us all proud.
Yeah, for all the good. For those 3 women have
someone has to ruin it.
Yeah,
we've been good in the individual sports. The Matildas, after getting up and watching this against Norway, I watched all the games and they were never really.
Yeah, I didn't get up to watch this game. I just saw the highlights.
Well, I mean,
they never quite got their act together for the whole tournament. Really, did the Matildas?
No, they were never really, super impressive. They played brief periods that looked like they had, but they've been in real trouble because sacking the coach not far out, not giving any real reason. Then they came out and offered the coach a sort of vague apology, and we never knew even why. The whole thing just has been bizarre.
Gallup.
Yeah.
He's hopeless. He's fair income useless.
The FFA CEO, David Gallup.
David Gallup.
No.
Has he ever got anything right? In any sporting administration role he's had?
Well, I remember once writing something about how the AFL and NRL have voted him Sports Administrator of the Year every year for his ability. I often think they got together and said, look, soccer would be a challenge to both of us. We can fight out amongst each other, but why don't we get Gallup in to the FFA and just nobble soccer for the foreseeable future?
It's like Kim Jong-un shooting 17 holes in one in his first round of golf.
Yeah, that's right. Like I like that. Has he ever done anything right?
The Matildas, they let themselves, their families and their country down, basically.
I'm not sure if they're allowed back. It's the worst result of the tournament in 16 years for them. Robbie Slater's been quick to point fingers.
He's good at that, Robbie Slater.
He called it an absolute fail. He said it was selfish decisions by certain individuals and groups.
Who would he be talking about, you think?
Well, I think it's all about the sacking, and I think there's been some players who weren't happy there and all sorts of things. So, but then also it doesn't help when the governing body has been at war.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah, it's all very well being a smartass and me pointing the finger at David Gallup, but the whole Football Federation Australia have not covered themselves in glory for the last 3 years.
And the states have been at war with the federal body. And,
the A-League can't get its act together and, the whole thing's just...
Do you find it bizarre? I was reminded of this, just talking of all the distractions and the way the game's being run, and the Matildas were the sort of one shining light.
Yeah.
And then this is...
Now this has happened. Get that together.
And it is, so... You look at it and go, they're now expanding and adding another team to Sydney and another team to Melbourne.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in Melbourne. The Victory have very strong support and decent. You'd say they've been
Melbourne City have never
Melbourne City, have been
nailed it
and irrelevant in terms of crowds and everything else. How
What's the new club? Is it West Melbourne? Or is it?
It's going to be sort of, but towards Geelong as well.
Yeah.
So in Sydney, and I'm less familiar with Sydney in an A-League sense because the Wanderers have been quite successful and Sydney have been quite successful. But you look at it and go, why are you putting two teams? Like, is this the time to be expanding the A-League? Now, some people say, oh, yeah, it gives you more derbies and all these various things. But I look at it and go, I don't see the enthusiasm for another A-League side in Melbourne.
Why not just get this right first?
Yeah.
You know?
It's because it triggers various financial benefits from Fox Sports.
Of course, there'll be more games. You know, they'll make more money.
And there's incentives for them to do that. But, I mean, Fox Sports have basically come out and said they're not making much money.
Yeah, and they won't be spending too much more either.
No, and they're looking to cut the A-League. They're often even looking to offload to sell it to commercial networks. Yeah. So
next thing you know, Optus will have it just on, and then you know nobody will get to see
it. So that was the Matildas. I was really disappointed.
When Sam Kerr's missing penalties, you go, oh, something's
that
not
penalty shootout summed up the entire.
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought it's just summed up their whole tournament.
I still can't get past that, you know, and I've said this before. I like soccer as a sport.
Yeah.
But I can never get past the fact that of penalty kicks to decide the game. I just find it's like playing imagine in the AFL at the end they go, all right, when I've set shots to see who wins, you know, it's just a different sport.
Or end of the US Masters, nearest the pin.
Who can drive it the furthest.
Yeah.
So now one of my favourite stories that just keeps unravelling the whole time is our good mate, Izzy Folau.
Old mate Izzy. Yeah.
How's Izzy Folau? He's sort of... Remember Jared Hayne out of sort of rugby league circles was sort of the, you know, had a weird journey going off, and Carmichael Hunt too. They were sort of the weird journeymen who'd moved around to different sports and stuff like that. Izzy's and attracted controversy.
Yeah.
Izzy's overtaken them all.
Oh, he's got them all covered. and will continue to do so.
I mean, rugby league, off to AFL,
and
then off to Union,
very handsomely from the AFL.
Oh, like this is the thing. So, after having his GoFundMe page up and running, and apparently attracting about $750,000,
and this all happened because we were discussing Israel last week.
Getting up in church and
doubling
we all
down
sort of
again. Go, oh, mate, you can say whatever you like. I mean, but you've also got to be prepared for people to tell you to get stuffed in return.
Well, that's the thing. Like I often think
now it's gone to another level.
On Twitter, right? I'll tweet something, right? Yeah. And I'll often have someone come back and have a go at me, either to say, you know, they don't agree with the point, or they think I'm the least funny thing in the history of time, or whatever. Yeah. And I just go, well, that's fine. Like I've said my piece, you've said your piece. Like that's freedom of speech, right?
Exactly.
Like it's about governments more than anything else. But, you know, I don't get upset that someone has a different view. And just as I'm entitled to, I can't be annoyed. People say, oh, do you get trolled ever or get upset about people? And it's not so much trolling, but just people responding. If someone doesn't agree with me, I don't go, oh, I can't believe I'm being attacked. I go, well, hang on, I put it out on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not
You've
like
got to expect.
Yeah, it's not like I was having a private thought to myself. I've broadcasted it to the world, and then some people have said they don't agree.
And if you get no response, it's worse. You know, you go, oh, they don't even care enough to tell me to respond.
But you know what I mean? Like that's the way it works. Like if you publicly express a view, that's fine. Yeah. That's your freedom of speech. But people have a right to then come back at you.
Exactly.
And I have that happen to me all the time, and I don't get upset because people say, oh, do you get upset by that? I go, no, because they've got absolutely every right to point out I'm an idiot if that's what they think.
And it's not that important anyway. It's just...
Well, most of it's not. Like
most of it's not. And then, but
what you're saying?
Now,
my tweets making fun of football are not incredibly important.
Oh, I think they're extremely important. They're possibly they're the high point of Australian media over the last 5 years. But
well, actually, there's a lot of things that's so damning with faint praise. You've heard it. So Izzy, after putting up this GoFundMe campaign to fund his legal fees, which because he's to carry on his fight against Rugby Australia.
Yeah.
Now, very clearly, we've talked about why he got sacked from that, but he decided that he needed to raise money. So he came out and said, I want to raise $3 million. He said it was a war chest. I thought, what is he? Is North Melbourne? He's going up to John Longmire.
You get Jared Pollock for less than that.
So he's gone out and said he wants $3 million. Now, I've seen this figure from a few different lawyers, both on Twitter and in the media, who've said, top dollar, this is a $300,000 worth of legal fees.
Yeah.
So where is... And
so
then
what's he want to...
Well, in the disclaimer,
2.7,
well, in the disclaimer, it also this money might not be used for legal fees. Yeah. So a lot of it is it's fundraising for his causes, as much as anything else, right?
Oh my gosh.
Now, if he just came out and said, "I want to fundraise to continue to, my
spread the word of God or whatever,"
then So anyway, he then put that up. There was a backlash immediately. One, you got the backlash of people who are very against the fact that he's just spreading homophobic speech, right? So you got that group, which then you got the people who just think he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of Australians just fall into I don't care that much about any of what you're saying. I just think you're an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people I know that are not... They're not lefties, they're not righties.
For that one.
Yeah, you don't get too excited about much.
You're imbecile.
A lot of people got annoyed because even I saw a few people who, are Christians and even said they agree with his views on some of the issues. Yeah. They said, you're up against sick kids.
Yeah.
Raising it was things for raising money for people's 9-year-old with cancer.
Yeah.
Can we help with his treatment? Or this person passed away in tragic circumstances and we're trying to organise a memorial. And then you got Izzy going, hey, can I have $3 million?
Yeah.
And so that was a terrible look for him in a PR sense.
And then people, along that line, people say, well, why doesn't he just fund it himself? He's coming off his $4 million Rugby Australia contract. Yeah. He owns about $8 million worth of properties.
Yeah, and he bought a Lamborghini a few years ago. I mean, he's sold it since, but it was like, if you can afford a Lamborghini, you're not struggling.
Yeah, mate,
dollars.
You can afford a QC for a couple of weeks.
Not to mention a lot of people pointing out that he violated his employment contract here. Now, he's going to argue that, obviously, and all that, but, he chose to go down a path that he knew was going to lead here. And then he doesn't read the terms and conditions.
A lot of people were very happy to point out that he's not good at reading the fine print.
So GoFundMe pulled down his
just yesterday.
His cause.
But he started another fundraising page
this morning, which is separate. He apparently approached another mob who do this stuff, and they said, now GoFundMe said, today we'll be closing Israel Folau's campaign and issuing full refunds to all donors. After a routine period of evaluation, we've concluded that this campaign violates our terms of service. As a company, we are absolutely committed to the fight for equality for LGBTIQ plus people and fostering an environment of inclusivity. While we welcome GoFundMe's engaging in diverse civil debate, we do not tolerate the promotion of discrimination or exclusion. So that's why they've pulled it down. I got to say, as someone who has a lot of time for the causes around LGBTIQ plus, from a comms point of view, I find that having to remember all the letters every time. Now, I know you have to educate yourself and you can't be, but as a true believer in their cause, every time a letter gets added, and I know this happens because I remember I used to work in an area where part of the stuff we used to manage was some of these things, and I remember when it had about 3 letters. Yeah. And then there'd be another one, and there'd be another one.
Tell me again what the Q means.
That's queer.
Right.
So, yeah. Do you want me to go through all of them?
Yeah, not really.
Well, the thing is, it would be nice when we didn't need to have a label. Yeah. That you just didn't have the nonsense that requires the label.
It'd be easier if you just use Q for everyone.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I reckon you should just be the guy to anoint to come up with a new brand name.
Don't know if I'm probably the top of their list.
There's a sensitive hand needed here. I would say it would be you. Now, so Folau has said that it's now what I love about this is he says Ultimately, GoFundMe has buckled to demands against the freedom of Australians to donate to this cause. This was a spokesman for Folau, I should add.
Yeah.
And they said there appears to be a continuing campaign of discrimination against Israel and his supporters. Now, I find that a little rich considering his whole reason he's got here is...
When both sides start claiming discrimination, both sides should maybe just pull their collective heads in.
But no one was like... This is the thing that, like... I mean, it's like, read the room, Israel. Like, Australians have... I mean, the majority of Australians aren't... They fall into the... On whether someone is gay or not, they fall into the... I couldn't give a rat. Yeah. Like, it doesn't affect me. I couldn't care. Go, be happy. I don't care. You like. Yeah. And so this sort of stuff, like, people don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Yeah. Now, there are some that do, and I've had some wonderful responses on Twitter. Someone, it got nasty. Someone said, what did they call me? A pretend journalist. And I was like, well, hang on, I'm not a journalist. I'm not trying to be a journalist. So that is the biggest insult. Yeah. To accuse me of what?
I may be a pretender, but,
Yeah, but not a journalist. Yeah. It got quite willing.
Were you threatened to go to hell? Did anyone tell you were going to hell?
I got... No, I got one person try to engage me in a legitimate debate about this from their viewpoint of why Israel is not discriminating.
Right.
And I quickly, against people who are gay, and I feel like annoyed because I feel like, he also mentioned fornicators and a bunch of the rest of us who I feel we're being lost in this debate. But he said, someone said he loves anyone who's homosexual. He loves,
right?
And this is what they said. And he's trying to stop. He loves them, and because he loves them so much, he's trying to stop them committing a sin that will see them go to hell. And therefore, it's nothing about hatred or anything. It's all about love. And you're kind of like, there's where the clash of a different viewpoint is, where you see what is something that's intrinsically them as a person as a sin. And a lot of people don't even believe there is a hell.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Or a God or anything.
Define hell.
Yeah, so like...
Where is it?
Well, often at the MCG watching the Demons play, but you know what I mean? Like, so there's this kind of fundamental... So you can't... I mean, you're never going to have a reasonable debate on this because it's a fundamental two different belief systems that are running against each other. Snert Underpants said, do either of you know which page in the Bible explains how to turn water into wine? Asking for a friend.
Oh, Snert, you wouldn't be the first person
to look through it.
To try and find that page. Or this week be driven to drink.
Giorgio wrote in, have you set up a GoFundMe page for the distress the Melbourne Football Club has caused you over the years?
Now, that's a sensible suggestion.
That would be good, like counselling for demon supporters or something.
And can we just get GoFundMe all the money that was spent on Mark Neild, and Cameron Schwab? If we could just get that back.
Can we get Cameron Schwab to The Hague for crimes against humanity? David Russell wrote...
Have you seen any of his artwork lately?
No.
Cameron Schwab? Yeah, he's turned into an artist. Yeah. But he does it on his iPad, and you can just tell, I think I'm correct in saying this, that he uses an app that sort of does most of it for him.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Is it just a giant mess?
The colours do bleed into each other.
He did spend a lot of time worrying about what the jumper looked like.
Yeah.
The design and the new logos and stuff. Yeah. He's obviously got an art eye.
Yeah. Well, he's got an eye.
Not a good one. Yeah. David Russell wrote in, has Folau surpassed Tomic and Mundine as Australia's most disliked sportsman?
Well, probably has at the moment. I mean, the three of them would be, there's your trifecta of your most disliked sports people at the moment.
He falls a bit into the Margaret Court where it's nothing to do with his sporting ability or lack of living up to potential, because he's been a terrific player in Union and he was great at league. AFL less so, but
AFL.
I mean, it's never really a sensible crossover from league to AFL. It's a social debate argument, So if people agree with his views, they don't hate him.
Yeah.
They think he is a victim.
Yeah.
Some people think they don't agree with his views, but it's a freedom of speech issue.
So how do you reckon this is going to play out? He's going to raise a fair bit of money with his new funding page.
Yeah.
But when does he hit court against Rugby Australia, or will they settle? Or I think they want to fight just to show who's won. But they want to win this battle.
Well, I think they think I mean, look, lawyers, whenever I've been involved in legal cases, which has been a few,
yeah,
at the start they're all like, you've got a great case.
Yeah.
Or, and the other side's is weak. And then you get closer to court and anything can happen in court. You don't control it. So the lawyers could be telling Rugby Australia, you've got a really strong case here. And so that it's whether they've got the nerve to go, well, we'll find out.
And Folau's lawyers are probably telling him the same thing.
Oh, quite possibly. Or they're just, no, he's got no chance, but they like being paid $300,000 and they're saying, hey, how about a bit more of that $3 million that you're aiming for?
That's the thing. Well, if he does raise a $3 million war chest, suddenly his lawyers are going to be billing him for a lot more hours than they probably were planning to, because they know the money's there.
They just keep upping the thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's going to go on forever. Netball almost got dragged into it too, because his wife shared the GoFundMe page.
Yeah.
And Netball took a more narrow view and just went, she hasn't breached the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
But quite a few of the players there.
Liz Ellis was pretty unhappy about it.
This is a clash that's it's like the thing when people say, whenever we talk about this stuff on the podcast, people accuse us of being like too left wing or right wing or whatever they want to say at the time. But the minute you get it, sport can't stay out of social issues, because social issues here, the sport hasn't gone looking for it. And, and so netball going to be dragged into this in a way, already have, and be interesting to see what they do.
Can we just drag every sport in somehow?
Do you think there's a...
Well, can we drag the Olympic movement in here? Let's get Johnny Coates involved.
Well, Israel might be off to play. At the same time, he's trying to get back into the NRL.
Yeah. But haven't they already said he's not welcome?
Well, they've sort of said that, but then, the NRL used to say they were clamping down on people who hit women, and then never done that either. Now, you and I said last week that with the behavioural awareness officers, now Gillen has come out and done the full I'm sorry, and laid himself down in front of the fans and mea culpa for the way, and I'm sorry if anyone felt threatened and all this sort of stuff. And we said, what happens if an incident happens at the footy? Everyone's going to go, they shouldn't have never bowed to the reducing.
It was exactly what happens if it blows up this week?
Yeah.
But of course, nothing did it?
Well, we did have a fan spitting off onto spectators from the top of Marvel Stadium.
Was that a fan or Alan Richardson on the way to his press conference?
On Saturday night, two male footy fans were filmed at the top level of the stadium joking together before one spat onto fans below after the Lions-St Kilda clash. Now, apparently, they're spitting onto level 2. It got caught on camera, and they alerted a security guard who says that who they claim, this is the fans that saw the spitting, claims they did nothing.
Yeah. Well, I saw the footage on the news last night, and you can clearly see the bloke spat over the edge.
Yeah.
But as you say, it was on to level 2, and nobody allowed to sit in level 2. It could have been empty.
Well, I think they said the level they were on, level 3, was empty, except for these two blokes.
Yeah, well, that's why it was easy to spot them.
So, which is pretty bizarre. But they, the other thing that they said that was kind of interesting is Marvel sent a text in response to when you report these. So when the anti-behavioural...
Yeah, the number you're supposed to text.
You text to get the behavioural awareness officers
out. Who's on the other
out
end of that phone?
It probably goes to a computer in there, like, where they coordinate everything from. They say, we have investigated the matter and actioned accordingly.
Right.
It's just jargon, like actioned accordingly.
What does that even mean? Well, according to the fans, they did nothing.
Yeah.
Is that actioning accordingly?
Actioned accordingly. I love that. I just like everything that Marvel seems to put out.
Yeah, it's just gibberish.
It's just gibberish. When did jargon become a thing where just the business speak into
I blame
into
Dwayne
football.
Russell.
Well, you blame him for everything. It's no surprise then with the AFL. I mean, I think they've got the balance right on the security thing.
Well, I think now finally they probably will, because as we've said, for all the incompetence of the way they tried to address it, they got it wrong. But nobody wants to see no security at the footy. What you do want is, if there are some idiots carrying on, get them out.
Yeah,
And
we don't want any of these new arrivals. We just want.
We don't want them. They
in fact, I don't want any new arrivals. Like even arrivals. Like I want only Indigenous security guards.
Yeah, all new arrivals go to the A-League.
There's a new team. Now AFL. This truly was an interesting one. Fox Footy did a bit of an investigation into the score review officers. Now, score review officers have had a tough year, haven't they?
They have not had a great. They haven't covered themselves in glory lately.
No, there's been about 6 incidences where it's been, including 2 in one round, where it's been basically shown and agreed to, even by the AFL, that they were mistakes.
They got it wrong, and they looked at the wrong bit of footage, or.
Well, there was the one last year, which was my favourite, that didn't seem to get a lot of coverage at the time, where when asked why, the guy who was doing it said, I was watching the wrong player. Seriously, that was the excuse.
Was that the Adelaide game?
Yeah, it was last season. Yeah. Because it reminds me of...
Jenkins,
My theory is that the AFL go to a cinema and they sit there in the dark, and then the minute someone leans over to someone and says, "What? Who's that guy? Where's he from?" They go, "Would you like to be a score review officer?" Yeah. Like they look for people that can't handle remotes.
Yeah. And
they look for people who, the person in your family that's always going, "How do I get this back on Foxtel?" Yeah. That's who the AFL look for score review officers.
Push the blue Foxtel button up the top.
It's HMI1.
Yeah.
Oh, how do I do that? So that's to me like who they get. Yeah. So Fox Footy, it was foxfooty.com.au did an investigation, because we're not allowed, like the umpires, we know their names, they're printed in the record. We're never told who the match review officers are.
So they used to be, 20 years ago, they wouldn't even release the names of the umpires until the day of the game.
Yeah.
To protect them, or to stop them. People getting at them, or bribed, or whatever.
Threatened.
Whereas now you've got Razor Ray's just about, he's almost a shock jock. He's on the radio.
Don't get me started on Razor Ray. The fact everyone got seen but not heard should be umpires. But anyway, so they haven't told us who these people are. So Fox Footy went out of their way to try and find out. Now, they've learnt that AFL score review operators are paid just $250 a week.
Right.
Which... I don't know if that's good or... I mean, it seems low.
Well, how many games do they have to do to earn their $250? If it's one game, it's probably
I think they do one game.
Well, there you go.
They sit and watch the footy.
For $250.
And if they occasionally go, yeah, that was a goal.
Yeah.
Get my uncle to do that for $200.
You buy a pie and a can of drink, you lose half your money. But
if you give my uncle a crownie, he'll do it for a couple of crownies during the game. Now, apparently they're all very annoyed because they feel like they've been hung out to dry by the league. Apparently there's no official training in Melbourne before the start of the last 2 seasons.
Seriously, how could you hire somebody to do this? And it is, as much as we joke about it, it's pretty important that they get these decisions right.
Yeah.
And how can you say, "Hey, mate, you're a score review operator," but without any training or instruction, or at least,
Well, apparently there's 6 Victorian officials, and 4 of them have never umpired at the elite level.
Right.
Apparently they're all employed in other roles by the AFL, so this is sort of something they have to do on the weekend. It was believed that the mistake at North Melbourne's game against GWS in round 13 was made by a young AFL employee officiating in his first year in the job. So it's close to the work experience, kid.
Yeah, work. Yeah. The work.
Does this shock you? This news?
No, it doesn't shock me in the slightest. That's the shocking thing, and you look at it and you go, just to have a look at what they're doing here. They clearly there is no leadership. They haven't thought this through.
No, they're doing it on the cheap, on the fly.
Yeah,
And
it's this kid suddenly he gets a job at the AFL and then gets a shock that he has to work weekends.
Yeah.
I've got to work on Sunday.
There's 2 reviewers in Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia and Western Australia, all are formal AFL goal umpires. So that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
Only 2 of the 6 in Victoria are retired goal umpires. Score reviews were initially paid $150 per game. That's been raised by $100.
Yeah.
In light of the recent errors, there's been 4 errors across round 11, 12 and 13. The AFL has added people to the box. So now they've had 2 score reviewers plus in each one, and plus the technical expert who's employed by the company that does all the stuff. So someone who knows how to work the remotes has finally been put in there.
But as soon as you start adding more blokes in there, I reckon it's just going to make it worse.
My thing is, like, I've been watching both in the A-League and the World Cup, the VAR, the video assisted referee, and then you've got the the AFL's goal review, and then the NRL they have the bunker where it goes to a centralised point. They have that in ice hockey, they have that in Major League Baseball, various things like this, right? I'm not convinced that it's all been worth it. I know they occasionally, I know people say, but there's quite a lot they fix and they get right, but I just find it's a lot of effort for.
The only one I reckon that people don't seem to doubt and seems to work is your Hawkeye in the tennis. Is the ball in or out?
Yeah.
Bang, and I think they can blow it up to show the ball's out by a centimetre.
Yeah,
that works. Yeah. But none of the others, I don't reckon anyone is perfectly convinced that they ever work.
I don't know why the AFL. I genuinely don't know why. I mean, I suppose they feel they have to because we all now get, the broadcast in HD.
Yeah.
That they sort of people can see the glaring times when something's touched or not.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just find it all a bit.
If it went back to
human error,
call,
human error was sort of kind of what I always thought was.
Well, the thing is, in every other aspect of the officiating at footy, there is human error, and it's just accepted.
Yeah.
Umpires make mistakes, just like if players do. If players didn't make mistakes, nobody would ever kick a behind.
Yeah.
So it's accepted in every other level of officiating, but now they're not accepting it from the goal point of view, from the scoring.
The AFL's always like more umpires or more people. That's their solution to
everything.
Every single thing.
I mean, Jeff Crouch used to umpire a grand final on his own.
North Melbourne have been in the news a bit. They had apparently they have made their multi-million-dollar offer to Longmire.
Joey Longmire.
And you'd think the only reason Longmire would take that is if he does want to come home to Melbourne.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I guess that romance of coaching your old club.
Yeah, I wish Clarkson would have a bit of that romance with Melbourne. They also had North Melbourne, their forward Taylor Gardner. I know you're
don't know much about this bloke, I've got to say.
He was in a fight at a Sydney night spot. Did they get
him with their war chest?
Yeah. He was picked 15, I think, a few years ago.
Okay.
He's been injured a fair bit, so he hasn't. But my favourite was, the only reason I include this story, because let's be honest, he's not a huge name. People outside of North Melbourne probably never heard of him. He got in a fight at a Sydney night spot where he allegedly left a man with a broken nose. He didn't tell the club, which seems to have gotten him in a little bit of trouble, although he's still working out punishments. My favourite bit, though, is he admitted to a scuffle with a patron at the exclusive Double Bay night spot, the Golden Sheaf. I don't know why that made me think of you.
The Golden Sheaf. I know a few of those night spots around Double Bay.
Do you? I love this.
And let me tell you,
that's the least surprising sentence ever uttered in history.
There's a lot of nose work going on around there, but not necessarily broken.
Well, how many remember we had all the NRL players and the
they all got
AFL,
caught doing cocaine and exclusive Double Bay night spot.
That's right. Yeah. And so do you know this one, the Golden Sheaf?
Yeah, I do know the Golden Sheaf.
You do?
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I don't know if you'd call it an exclusive night spot.
Really?
It's just a bar, and because it's in Double Bay, it makes it a bit more exclusive.
Have you been to it?
Yeah, I've been to the Golden Sheep. Yeah. It's just a pub.
I think we're batting 100% when it comes to me ever mentioning any
licensed establishment.
Yeah, and not just in Australia. There was one where the US the USA women's soccer team got in this was a few years ago, drunken rowdy place in, I don't know, it was Singapore or something. I can't remember, somewhere in Asia. I can't remember where they were at the time. It was like 2-3 years ago, and I said, blah, blah, and you're like, oh yeah, I've been there.
I think it was Hong Kong.
It's not even just within Australia. I'm beginning to think there is not a bar you haven't been to.
Oh, yeah, there'd be some.
But you're trying. You're trying to get to them.
I'm trying to get through them all.
Do they have buckets of Corona at the Golden Sheaf?
Don't know. You can buy a Corona. They're about $17 each.
Right.
Yeah.
And would there be a lot of nose candy going on there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what we said. That's where all the NRL players get their Coke.
Right.
Yeah.
All of them. So anyway, he's apparently they got in this fight and this guy's ended up with his nose broken.
Right.
Allegedly, it seems like Taylor might have had something to do with that, but we're not sure. And the Roos were not aware of his actions until contacted about it. And then they confronted him and he admitted he'd been in a scuffle. So there we are. That's going to be
a good scuffle.
A good fair scuffle.
It's a fair scuffle if you break somebody's nose.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. Now, last listener's question we've got, Anthony has come in. Is Michael Clark's commentary enough of a crime for Dutton to justify him not being allowed back in the country? What do you reckon?
I haven't heard much of Michael Clark this World Cup. I mean, I must admit I haven't.
What do you mean you haven't?
I haven't watched too many of the games. I'm going to watch the game against England this week.
Right.
But is that tonight?
I think it's tonight, yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch that. But Michael Clark, has there been an Australian captain who's turned the country against him as much as Michael Clark? I mean, if you forget the Steve Smith and the sandpaper thing.
Yeah, I think.
But just as a commentator.
Oh, I mean, but I think. I mean, I've watched a lot of the cricket and Clark is on a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Australian games, it is like brutal. And then the other.
And he's just not much chop at it.
The thing, they had him on, and then almost like they're actively trolling. I mean, he's the one guy that didn't get picked up by Fox Footy or Seven over the summer.
Yeah.
Then, for some reason, he's on this coverage, and they had him on, and then almost as a way of just actively trolling us, they then joining up with Michael Slater. And so Slater comes on. So Clark's been on, and then they bring Slater in, and he goes, and Clark goes, "G'day, Slats." And you're just like, oh my God, like,
do I have to listen to this?
Get me another beer.
Yeah.
Because it was unbelievable.
Maybe that's the whole point.
But Clark was never like really when he was even playing.
No, he's just never been much chop at the chat anyway.
And the disdain for him, or the dislike rather, for him within the playing ranks is huge.
Yeah, it's palpable.
You talk to any of them privately.
Yeah.
No,
players.
He's just not liked.
No.
You know?
And he never has been.
So, and the public pick up on it.
Yeah.
You can't fake it forever, as much as we all like to try. I think we'll give the...
Who do you reckon for the best?
Well, I was thinking Giorgio for... have you set up a GoFundMe for the Stress the Melbourne Football Club? That's
a definite winner.
Has caused this. I'll get in contact with Giorgio, get his details. There's a few I've got to send out in the next week or so. And we will be back next week aiming to go for the hat trick of 3 in a row. 3 in a row. And let's see where Israel Folau takes us in the next 7 days. We'll see you then.